Okay, here's number 9. It says a 15-foot tall tree is next to a slide. The tree is casting a shadow of 22.5 feet, and the slide is casting a shadow that is 10.5 feet. How tall is the slide? I have a hint here, and it says to draw a picture. So, guess what I'm going to do? Draw a picture. I have a tree. There's my tree. And what do I know about that tree? Well, it says it's 15 feet tall. So I'm just going to write 15 feet. And it says it's casting a shadow. That's my shadow of 22.5 feet. Okay. Then there's a slide. And you can tell I'm an artist. You're welcome. And what information do I know about the slide? It says it's casting a shadow that's 10.5 feet. So the shadow for that one is 10.5 feet. The unknown is the height of my slide. I'm going to go ahead and look at my answer choices because sometimes I can work backwards. The same time of day, casting a shadow, 2 different objects. Looking at my choices, I have that my slide can be 33 feet. While that might be possible, it's impossible in this situation because of the fact that if a 15-foot tall tree casts this long of a shadow, something shorter would cast a much smaller shadow. So what I can tell is that 33 is a crazy answer. 25 is also crazy. Now, if this slide was 15 feet, the shadow would also be 22.5 feet. So I already know that my answer is 7, but I can go ahead and prove it by setting up a proportion. I have my info about a tree as my first ratio. Then I have my info about the slide as my second. My tree's height, or the height of the 2 will be on top, and then I have the shadow. Labels are so important when setting up a proportion. The height of the tree is 15, the height of the slide is unknown, then the shadow of my tree is 22.5, and the shadow of my slide is 10.5. There's not necessarily a shortcut because going from 22.5 to 10.5 or vice versa isn't easy to see. What I can do is I can multiply here, or even do what I've done in the previous problems is plug in numbers. Especially if I was maybe left with these 2 answer choices, I could plug in 7 into this proportion and I would look to see if my cross products were equal. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this problem a little bit more simple by rounding. I'm only rounding because I know that I can take a look at these answer choices and possibly eliminate. So I'll change this to 20, and I'm going to change this to 10. They aren't far from the original, but we have to consider that I have changed numbers when I figure out my answer. I know that going from 10 to 20 is multiplying by 2, which means if I'm going from 20 to 10, that would be me dividing by 2. And since I am moving in that same direction here, dividing by 2, this would be also dividing by 2. And 15 divided by 2 is about 7.5. And again, considering that I've changed my numbers, this isn't going to be an exact answer, but it would definitely help me make a decision. So if I didn't eliminate based on common sense, and if I didn't have a calculator to use, I'd still be able to sort of estimate to get a really good answer.